Hello, hi, I'm Patricia McNeely from 4Zone Healing. Today's video, I want to talk to you and explain to you about something that you will go through and probably are currently in that I call the old lady phase. Now that's my loose term for it. Are you in the old lady phase? Well, here's how you know. Are you feeling tired and dragged out? Are you having issues with your appetite? Do you feel bloated the minute you put food in? Like you just start swallowing something and you feel a sense of bloat, or like your belly gets hard. Do you also wake up already feeling somewhat depressed, not really ready to face the day, kind of like that song, Rainy Days and Mondays Always Get Me Down, but this feels deeper than that? Do you also feel like you might be getting something that runs in your family that maybe an ancestor had, like your great-grandmother, your grandmother, some other relative? Now, this is not exclusive to women, but in today's video, I'm going to talk about women. There's some things to know about this, and there are ways that I can help you with it where even the medical community and your mental health experts will not know, and that is through your light body. So it is firmly one of the parts of Ascension, and it is also a part of your self-care, healing, and reintegrating actually what truly belongs to you that you may have left your energy out there somewhere. Okay, just like you could say, hey, my energy was used to birth something, and at some point you should have that back. You should be able to cut cords with it and retract it back to yourself, right? So this is a part of the larger process of actually doing that, but it is very, very confusing when it begins to happen for people. So first of all, the first thing to know is it must be addressed. If you ignore it or try to barrel through it, either way, ignoring it does not help, because that doesn't get rid of it, nor does it get rid of the feelings, nor the emotions, nor the things that you might call mental health. Mental health is very tied in with your physiology and your physical health, but you can't just exercise that away either. Because if that were true, people could just exercise and get rid of their mental health issues. This runs much deeper than this, okay? There is a reason that exercise does help, because it incorporates the part of you that is spirited, and hence your spirit, and it helps you recapture that. But we're talking about real integration and opening of new chakras, which enable you to be connected to a much higher source, whatever you want to call it, source, love, the source, the divine. It is all what I'll say sort of interchangeable in terms of what people mean, and it means the same thing: a higher place, a higher energy, higher love, feeling that funneling into your body, coming in and supporting you and uplifting you. Okay. This is why sometimes just going to a place for spiritual upliftment also doesn't always cut it. Okay. Religion can't cut it for people. I'm not saying all religion is bad. There's kernels of truth in it, but I don't want to get off track onto that. This is very physical feeling for you, and the other reasons it must be addressed is, if not, it delays your ascension. Okay, it can drag out for up to 8 months if you're not addressing it, or longer. Some people will take a full 2 years with their ascension, and they don't have to. But when you're in a particular phase or stage of your ascension, and there are multiple stages and phases, it's important to be proactive and address it. That gets you through it, where you feel like you're skimming over, where you feel this crescendo of energy, you're integrating it and actually capturing it and recapturing your spiritedness to help you do other things, to help you birth new creations, to help you be productive, to help you get inspired, to help you actually thrive physically. So your physiology is important in all of those things and your endeavors. It must be addressed. Number two, this is the tiredness of lifetimes. So if you were to view this from a really place where you were up on a level and you could see all of your ancestors going back into history, you would see the tiredness of the ages. You would see the tiredness of lifetimes. You would see that you've been reincarnated and been knocked down, and that made your spirit tired. It actually dispirits people to go through things in their life that they could do nothing about. This is the life which is your get up and go life, and be able to be proactive and actually not only get somewhere, get rid of the tiredness of lifetimes. When you look at it in this scope, you are actually able to not only view it differently, but approach it differently and proactively. You can actually feel like, hey, there is something now that I could do about it that I couldn't do in medieval times, or that my ancestors couldn't do. They were crushed, they were squashed, they were disenfranchised. I have had many people where they come from a culture where, circumcisions, female circumcisions, are a part of that culture because it is believed to somehow purify. And yet the people have to live with those wounds and those scars and live with the ancestry of that, where their ancestors wounded, scarred, traumatized, invaded, all of these emotions and actual physical traumas to the body. They carry a weight and they carry a burden here in modern times. I'm here to help not only take these burdens off, remove them, refresh you, renew you, open your new chakras, and help you to integrate a brand new body, a brand new light body that doesn't want to hold such things, nor the resulting illness from it. So when I say the tiredness of lifetimes and upholding nonsensical belief systems, things that have oppressed people, we're talking about real progress and real ascension. Okay, you don't need those things. How do you regain feeling back? This is one of the differences between my modality and other things. You do need medical care, okay, but many times medical will not have the answers. The answer is in your new light body, which infuses the feeling to parts and the regrowth of nerves, your central nervous system, so that feelings, sensations return, emotions return. These are very important. They're very important for any relationship, especially and including the relationship to oneself. How does one not feel wounded or scarred or marred or defective? And this goes a long way. So my modality has already been doing this for people. People from places where that's the normal, except it's not normal. We are going to a new level of normal, which is healthy, which is mental health, and the physiological health, which is your body's systems. Now, this is why I've broken it down into 4 zones. There are 4 main marma points, which are, the marma points are your higher connections. The chakras are, think of these as like your day in and day out energy wheels. They draw the energy in and funnel them to minor points within your body. Still important, but there's something else that is the modulator of even higher energy. If we're going to ascend, this is higher. You're not supposed to have a nervous breakdown with this. You're supposed to be able to gradually integrate and, just like you turn up the volume, have a structure that enables you to handle it. Not only handle it, but thrive in it. Now let's talk about the next thing. Ancestral illnesses. Oh gosh, where do we begin? War, deprivation, lack, genuine lack and deprivation, genuine disenfranchisement, genuine invasions, genuine, let's get the population pregnant with our babies, genuine having to tolerate the occupiers of your geographical area. Now, even if you are living in, especially if you're living in a Western culture, guess what? You are the being where you get to say, hey, the buck stops here. Not only are we stopping such things, we're stopping it energetically, we're stopping it physically, we're stopping it physiologically. My body doesn't want to have all that hormonal upset or that deep fear or that xenophobia, you know, that like, oh my God, I just saw this person and I have a reaction and I don't even know why. It runs deep and it has caused illness. We've kind of all caused each other to be sick. But at some point, we have to have these boundaries where we are saying enough, time to do something, time to roll up our sleeves as tired as we are and begin this ascension. That ascension enables you to start to unravel the damage that has been caused. And I help you with that because I am actually an integrator and activator. That is what my gifts are in. And furthermore, I help to make it easy for you because you get a set of instructions. I provide that in all of my classes and in my sessions. Ancestral illness is the stuff that catches us as we age. And for more and more people, they're getting diagnosed with it at even younger ages. Why? Because it is a part of their ascension. They're hitting that wall where they start to find out, hey, I'm pre-diabetic, or I collapsed. This actually happened to a friend of mine with her niece, 15 years old. She started dropping and they didn't know what was happening. Took her to the hospital and they found out she's diabetic. Imagine being a young one and finding out you're diabetic. How do you live with this? How do you say no to things? How do you stay strong? Well, here is the thing. These things originate because of wars and invasion and literally sucking out the sweetness of people's lives. You can no longer metabolize the sweetness. And it is an important thing. Metaphysically, this is lack of sweetness and inability to properly metabolize sweetness. In the physical, what this actually means is that you have to avoid it. Otherwise, it's going to send you on spikes and drops and spikes and drops and further damage your nerves and so forth. The new light body structure is such that a fresh infusion of the energy into the critical organs along the solar plexus, and this is again why, where has the sweetness been being almost siphoned out throughout history? Does it run in the family? These things run in the families because things have happened. You know, how we're originally created, we could say like, hey, you're perfect. We get here and we get going and things aren't so perfect, right? You still feel a sense of your purity and your perfection, and yet how do you express that in the world? Or why should you be plagued with, you know, chronic illnesses, fibromyalgia, etc.? So ancestral illness, particularly for women, because women are prone to certain things and men are prone to other certain things that are chronic illness. Which leads me to my next point, the reproductive cycles and the soul group, the group of souls that you've been tied to that quite literally would be tethering you down as you're trying to ascend. Imagine trying to lift off or fly a plane and nobody moved the blocks from the wheels, or there's a cable tying you down. This is the soul group. There's people you've been tied to, there's family, there's potential suitors, there have been mates from past lives and throughout history. And how do you unplug and yet replug in so that you have not only a healthy cycle, the old stuff begins to wind down and the new stuff begins to ramp up so you feel good? How would you like to have your monthly cycle without the terrible symptoms? How would you like to have a monthly cycle where there's guidance? How would you like to have a monthly cycle that continues to diminish and yet your body is even healthier than before? Things like Hashimoto's, thyroid issues, lower gut issues, IBS, so many things that are actually tied to the reproductive system. And again, not to criticize doctors because they have years of training, but they do not know how these zones are being managed by your marma points. And that is why my modality is the perfect living bridge to help you transition through your ascension. Your light body is in transition. It's letting go of all these things. It wants you to let go and yet be new, be able to have new relationships. Your human body is in transition out of all this old stuff, but it throws people off and it's hard to understand, is this really part of an overall plan? Yes, the plan that you signed up for even before you were born, when you picked out your parents. What do you mean I picked out my parents? Yes, which gets me to the next topic. The medical community cannot account for long-term damage, okay, meaning, they are noticing that things run in families. There's addictive tendencies in families. There's cancers that run in families. What they can account for is damaged DNA. What they can't account for is that there is a plan to fix you and transform you. Let's fix your DNA. Let's get your dormant DNA open, activate it, integrate it, connect it. Let's get you connected to your source and transform you. Now, I've been already doing this since 2009 and helping people. But the aha moment I had was the result of being able to work with so many people worldwide where I could see the patterns and break it down into 4-zone healing. 4 zones, which works with your physiological systems. And, this will include systems and specific organs, your central nervous system, and you, okay? Your well-being, your feel good, and generally getting you to where 99% of your year is feeling good. And maybe you have an off day. And those rainy days and Mondays start to be ancient history for you. You put it in your rearview mirror and you keep leaving. So there are 2 other things that I want to add to this. When I work with you, I do give you scientific based during your work that you're doing with me, which is light body work and physical body work, because they have to work together. They have to be like, woo, 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 woo. Okay, just like that infinity symbol, where the cooperation between the energetic part of you and the physical part of you is seamless. And it's natural. It's not supernatural. It is a natural part of you. It's more like superhuman, the superhuman part of you. And the aftercare. So if we remove something, if we remove a wound or ancestral things, what would you do for your own personal aftercare? We provide a ripple effect. When you start and you're the leader in your family, you would be surprised to see how it starts translating to another female relative, a child, a parent, a grandparent, a cousin. You would start to feel, because unraveling the bad threads of DNA and reweaving it, that's something that begins to happen, mostly especially at night. And this is why I have to give you instructions so that you know what to do. You follow things and you experience, and I want you to have, one of the things I pride myself on, I want you to have high-level experiences. High-level experiences when people tell me things like they got pulled up into this repair shop and it was amazing. And they felt, they could literally feel things. Like I've had people say, it felt like someone took a giant cable cutter and snapped it and this thing came off of me. Or it felt like, suddenly I had this yoke of a really heavy burden, but somebody came and take it off. Okay, this is your source energy. This is your higher self. This is the divine energy. This is a part of you that goes to your dream time, and you're quite literally enabled now to get the much higher up stuff that can go into history, remove it, rebuild it, connect you, activate you, energize you, and thrive you. So if you're tired of just surviving or wondering if you are going to need medicine or something like this, I am not opposed to medicine. Sometimes medicine can be life improving and really show you what it is, okay? I recently saw a video on a young man, and he had cystic fibrosis, and they came out with a medicine that he enabled to breathe. And what the article said, and he leads people because he's trying to help little kids with this, and he actually looks like a bit like Chris Hemsworth, so he dresses like Thor. But the thing is he got a medicine. Now, I would love to get my hands on him and be like, we got even more work to do, right? We want to get you even more thriving, right? But this medicine, which is a combination of two meds, finally enabled him to breathe. And he cried. He cried tears of joy because he had never in his life known what it was like to just simply breathe. Now, if you feel heavy, if you feel burdened and you're like sensing, hey, this is from some past stuff, or it's starting to feel like grandma has, like I have what grandma had, and like you're wondering, right? Don't be afraid. Instead, I want to tell you this. You're not crazy. You have this visceral sense of history because it's connected to you. And that's why when it starts to come up, you're going up the way you went down. If this knocked you down at some point, you're going to come up from under that rubble. But let's address it properly so that you're done with it in a matter of weeks, not months. Not, in this way, if you are taking medicine, like I say, I'm not opposed to medicine, but the natural feel of your light body begins to tell you when you're done with it. Like you start to get a sense of, hey, I think I'm finished with that medicine. The more you ascend and the more that you're up on that, you need things for a shorter time period, and you need natural things even more so, okay? So again, necessary at some times. You also get a sense of discernment that expands, where you start to feel not that it's coming from a place of fear, like, oh, I'm afraid of that medicine. You get a sense of, this will help me, it will help me for X amount of time. It's very precise. Your discernment expands and deepens. And this then assists you naturally, superhumanly in your own health process. But let's get started. We are available for sessions. We are available for sessions and group classes. Please always look at the descriptions below. Please like and subscribe so that more people can get the information to know that there is true help. There is real help, and there are success stories. There are transformative stories. And I love people's stories. So feel free. My email is there at 4zonehealing@gmail.com. Check it out. Thanks so much. Have a great day. And let's all feel better. Let's make it a better world. Bye.